Being in Sync 366 video series. We are in December and there's a lot of life's pressures. This time of year, for lots of reasons, there are many pressures, and today we're going to be talking about two specific ways in which you can move through life's pressures in a conscious manner. There are specific things that you can do, and that's what we're going to be talking about. My name is Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. I do that through the alignment of energy psychology. That's what I call it. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Zoya, hello. We're just going to wait about 5 minutes. Hi. I can't see your name. Letitia. Hello. Oh my gosh, my glasses are so dirty, y'all. Good to see you. I'm going to wait about 5 minutes before I start today's content. So thank you so much for your email, Michelle. That's awesome. Awarenesses. Today's topic should help even more. Okay, well, you know, it's the holiday time. We have a tsunami warning going on here in California. There was a big earthquake up north, so lots of things going on. And at the same time, we're pulling in higher levels of plasmic frequency, which now I sound like one of those woo-woo people, but hey, that's what's happening. So how do we manage pressures of life is what we're going to be talking about today. How are you all doing? I just had the most amazing lunch. It was just simple. I love asparagus. That's like one of my favorite vegetables. Zoya, I missed you yesterday. I'm so glad you're here. Where do you live, Zoya? I know the times. I've had people ask me to change the time. Hello, Rahul. You're back. Good to see you. It's snowing where you are in Ottawa. Oh, you're in Ottawa. Oh, good to see you, Ottawa. I saw one of my friends shoveling snow today. You stay warm. I was actually wearing my beanie and there's no snow here. It is cool. Good to see you in the house, Ottawa. I love that there's some Canadians watching. My husband's actually visiting his family there now. Okay, y'all, we're just waiting about 5 minutes for people to jump on, and then we shall begin. Today we are talking about pressure. Do we have a question about pressure that we can ask? I think I'm going to ask a question here in the poll. Get you guys in. Lei Chu, is that you? No. Lei Chu. Oh, I did not know that was you. Let me see. Hello, let's see. I'm going to ask a question here. Okay, I have a question. Oh, I did not know that was you. Good to see you. Hello. I did not know you even knew this was here. Good to see you. That's awesome. Maybe the whole family could be in sync, you know. Everybody, one year for Christmas, I wanted my in-laws, my family, to have a little inkling about what I do. And so I did a family meditation, like a guided meditation, which I don't normally do. I do it for particular things, and it went really well. But I think, you know, a lot of people don't really understand energy psychology. It's such a new way for a lot of people. So I thought, well, maybe if I did a guided meditation, they would get just like a glimpse into the non-physical aspects, which I spend like 100% of my time in. So, you know, Lei Chu, so good to see you here. Zoya, I'm glad you made it today. Let me see. Who else is in the house? Saudi Arabia, Zoya. Love it. What time is it there? Hey, South African boys. I love that you're here. So I did do some research on what is actually going on in South Africa that I was not aware of. And it's very interesting. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to get to the comments later on. So if you have a question, hey Hunter, good to see you. I'm just going to scan real quick. I love seeing you all show up. Another one from Canada. I'm not from Canada, I'm from California. Right now we are having a tsunami warning here. Today we are talking about how to handle pressure consciously. Do you feel like you consciously handle pressure well? And that's a yes or no, right? Because you either are conscious or you're not. Lei Chu says that was a great experience about the guided meditation. Just a little glimpse, Lei Chu, about what I do, but not really. I understand it's very different. Liz, good to see you here. Okay, I love greeting you all and seeing you, the regulars show up here. If you spam the chat, you're just going to be deleted. No warnings, just delete. That's what we do here when you spam the chat. I run from pressure, Liz says, but don't. I run from the pressure, but don't to myself. Interesting. Okay, well, today is going to be kind of a short discussion about how to handle pressure, but we kind of like dove into it a little bit yesterday when we talked about the need for rest. But today, there are two aspects of pressure that I think is really important for people to understand. So I'm just going to talk just briefly, and then I'll go into the chat and see what you guys have to say about pressure. And of course, anything that I can do to support people moving through these life pressures easier, I'm here for it. Because, you know, life can be humbling, y'all. Life can be humbling. I talked to a dear friend today who, you know, admittedly stubborn. She's admittedly stubborn, and now she's in a pickle. Not a pickle game, not the game pickle, but she's in a situation that appears to be bleak. And, you know, how do we move through these pressure, life-filled situations? So first of all, I want to introduce something that I don't know how it's going to work with the algorithms, but it's called a wear down strategy. So what happens with a wear down strategy is when life is giving you one hit after another hit after another hit, like maybe it's a health situation, and then a legal situation, then maybe a tax situation, and then maybe some interference from your friends, maybe conflicts. It could be one of those things or many of those things. And then you have a natural, what they're calling natural disasters. And then maybe throw another pandemic on the mix. And the idea is that people are in a state of fear and panic. Now that creates a pressure. That pressure creates a fragmentation for people who have not developed what's called inner stillness. Inner stillness is when you are able to go within. The outside world is always going to reflect what's going on inside. So the number one thing is understand that there is a strategy, and it's called a wear down strategy. And although you think you're not getting it, trust me, if you're living and alive, the wear down strategy is playing out in the field. And when I say the field, I mean the energetic field. So if you are feeling it, you are not alone. But how you move through the pressure is going to determine the outcome. And as you know, I say, let's not be attached to the outcomes, you know, and as I'm saying that, I also want to say, I need to say that I need to talk slower because somebody told me yesterday I speak too quickly. So I'm going to try and talk slower because I just remembered. Take whatever resonates for you and leave whatever I say that doesn't resonate, okay? When you are feeling pressure, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge, I'm feeling pressure. Whether that's from a headache, which, by the way, I had for 3 days, headaches, issues, physical information, find a way to get still. We talked about resting yesterday. I have a very cultivated, peaceful life, but not everybody has that. Thank you so much, Zoya. Okay, Zoya, you can tell me if I'm speaking too fast or too slow because I see your name pop up really easily. When you are cultivating a place of stillness within, it will change how the pressure vibrates with you. It will release some of the tension. When we are feeling pressure, often it is an indication that we have been ignoring an aspect, either physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. Can be one or many of those, but you want to look at it and what have I been ignoring? What have I been ignoring that needs to be addressed? And just write it down. You don't have to really think about it, but you must acknowledge it because through our acknowledgement, we consciously begin the changes. Once we have acknowledgement, then we can go into decision-making mode. Once we go into decision-making mode, we can move into conscious choice. Now, I live my life in conscious choice every day, all day. And I know that is very foreign for a lot of people, but I literally ask myself when I wake up, what do I feel is the next step? Do I do this or do I brush my teeth? Do I have this or do I do that? You know, and I feel into my entire life. Every moment I try to be as conscious as I possibly can. Now, I'm not perfect. You know, I too get pressures from life. But when I feel the pressure, I do acknowledge it. And then I go into stillness. That means no scrolling on my phone, no Instagram, no YouTubes, none of that stuff, no text messaging. I'm just still. I'm just still with my conscious breath listening, becoming and acknowledging the oneness with my spirit, all of who I am. Because we are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. But when we get pressure, it can fragment us and make us believe that we're separate. So when you get still, you will be able to direct the information and the conscious choice easier. Zoya is saying pressure is really... It is necessary for lazy people. Well, I'm just going to say that we were born for these days, right? I mean, we were born to be here during the whole COVID thing. We're here to awaken, to be fully present to everything that's happening. Even though a lot of us would be like, I wish this would just go away, which is what my friend was saying. She's like, if I knew getting older was going to be like this, I wouldn't do it. But look, we are constantly creating our realities. The things that she's contending with today could have changed based on her conscious choices. But this is the thing. If you're stubborn, that's also a choice. Like you choose. And if we're choosing to continue to resist our experience, it only creates more pressure. The pressure often equates with a lot of pain. Both physical pain, emotional pain, and spiritual pain. It's a fragmentation away from who you are as a spirit, who you are as a soul. So the first step is understanding, number one, if you haven't heard of this strategy, go look it up. Get an idea of what's going on in our environment. Our food hasn't been poisoned for it for no reason. It is to weaken the structures of humanity. Now, we are in a consciousness war. What is consciousness? It's the existence of you. It is totally connected to your soul evolution. It is pure connection to your evolution. And a lot of people don't even know they have a soul. They don't know they have a spirit. And now we have a lot of people walking around in a lot of fear. So when you feel fear, create a space for stillness for yourself. If you don't want to meditate, I'm not even going to call it meditation because I don't think it needs to be called a meditation. There's a lot of dogmas around meditation. And I'm not a fan of rules and regulations. But we want to cultivate stillness within so we can become aligned. When we are able to be still, we can easily move into conscious choice. We must be creating movement. So what happens when people are in a lot of pain? They go into shock, trauma, and obviously they want to run away from pain. But pain is a signal. Don't run from pain. Go into the pain. Literally go into the pain. Resolve it. Bring your conscious awareness into it and create movement through choice. Now, if you are somebody that has a lot of physical pain, then everybody says, except the doctors, will say, movement, you have to move. If you're not moving, you will create what's called stagnation within your body. It's going to impact your circulation. What does your circulation impact? Every aspect of your body, specifically your nervous system. And if you don't have any control of your nervous system, then you're going to end up going to your doctor and wanting to get medication, thinking that is the way. No, that is an escaped way. And I'm not saying those of you who are taking medication are wrong. I'm just saying that's a Band-Aid and we want to go to the root. The root is always going to be your nervous system. Now, I spend time with people every day. Always the first step is addressing my client's nervous system. If they have an active nervous system, meaning it's spun up, they're in fight or flight, it's more, you can't run the energy that way. I mean, you can, but they need to learn to control their own body. You are the director and the controller of your body. If you don't own it, another energy will direct it. And that's what happens with these waves of energy. That's all energy is a wave. So it's a consciousness wave. So if you're unconscious, you will most likely have trouble and get wrapped up in the wear down strategy, which is challenging. It's one challenge after another. How do we get out of it? Awareness. How does awareness move? Through consciousness. So you want to become aware and then make a conscious choice. The conscious choice creates movement, and movement is what moves the pressure. Stagnation does not move it. Being still creates the space for you to make conscious choice. But that's not the same as not doing anything. So that's what I have to say about that. And I will say pressure can be leveraged, Zoya. And to anybody who's on here, it's like pressure is a leveraging point. If you feel pressure and then go into fear, you lose your leveraging. You want to leverage your experience into a new way. Okay, so I'm just going to see what you all are saying in the chat. And we've got 105 votes here. Oh, excellent. So we have 61% of you who are saying that you are consciously handling pressure well. Good job, folks. Good job. Of course you are. Now, how could you do it better? How could you manage your pressure better? Creating stillness within. That is also another way of saying neutrality. Neutrality is your friend. If you can find a way to create neutrality within, you will see the experience completely different. Saudi Arabia, that's so cool. So happy to see you, South African boys. You really touched my heart with your sharing. Okay, if you all are new here, I'm Kiana Sage from Being in Sync. I am just moving through the chat to see if there's any questions about pressure. Thank you so much, Zoya. You're so sweet. Somebody's saying that pressure kills. Pressure can be detrimental, but it usually is not the killing point. Good to see you here, Hunter. Danny, you almost got me. Danny said you're on mute. Oh, thanks, Lei Chu. So, South African boys, how have you found stillness within is my question. And it looks like we don't have a mod in the chats today, so bear with me. Liz, why would you run from pressure? And where are you running to? And is that helping you? Okay, we got a lot of spam today. Bear with me. I get angry when pressure comes. I figured out the pressure really comes when I am hungry. Good awareness. Yeah, not eating will also throw off your chemistry. When your chemistry is off, your nervous system's going to go off too. Good awareness. I just say a person eating bugs. I don't know what you're saying. Liz, all of the above. Zoya's saying, I can't handle pressure, especially when my exams are near and I feel like a burden on my shoulders. I always well prepared for my exams. Well, when our mind is busy and overwhelmed, that's going to create more pressure. So Zoya, like what methods do you have to create stillness within? Like for me, I will just give myself time to just be, and I'll just turn everything off. But what is your strategy? Because we can always find things to do. In fact, I have a list of things I can always go do, but I make myself become still before I go do, because oftentimes the doing is done unconsciously when we don't have stillness. Thank you, Zoya. Okay, I'm trying to go down in the chats and see. We have a lot of spam. Just looking for questions about the topic about moving through pressure. Jesse is I don't have a mod on here today, so people. Hey Mick, good to see you. Hello, hope you're feeling well. Oh my gosh, we have so many spam in here. Bear with me, guys. Well, they're all There's all different kinds of pressure, right? Elliot, good to see you here. Dan. Johnny, I love my tea. Mick is saying we need to handle We need to handle our own pressure. It's not like we can give it to anyone else. I agree. The pressure that we see is not just our perception, but it's also the plasmic light energy that's coming in. Like when they say the veils are thinning, the veils are thinning. There's a lot more plasmic light coming through. And if your body is not prepared to handle higher levels of consciousness, let's just say unity consciousness or Christ consciousness, your body will have a reaction to these new energies, and it will create a pressure. That pressure is going to have a physical ramification as well as an emotional and a mental and a spiritual. So we must learn how to become still and make conscious choices, in my opinion. How do we do that is important. What are the main sources of pressure in modern society and how do they affect mental health? I think, Zoya, I'm just going to sum that up in one word: fear. Fear is the main source of pressure. People afraid of living, people are afraid of dying, people are afraid of getting sick, people are afraid of other people, people are afraid of going to the doctor, they're afraid of not going to the doctor. People are just living their life in fear. And that directly impacts every aspect of their nervous system. It directly impacts what they believe, and without people having the wherewithal or the courage to challenge their beliefs, they then believe the fears are real and it is going to happen. And if you believe it, then it basically locks you into a lower frequency. And so what do you get? You get more fears. So that's why people think they're going to be safe at home, but in their home, they're still afraid. So the issue is not their physical ways of being. Their issue is their thinking, and they're not challenging their thinking. People aren't challenging their thoughts. They believe what they think is true, and a lot of what they think is fearful. So those fearful beliefs are a problem. And for a lot of people, they feel pressure and then they crumble, and they're just going to mentally fracture, emotionally fracture, spiritually fracture, which makes it immensely difficult to connect with your heart and find an inner connection within, and to even have a direct relationship with God, Creator, Source Energy. And that's where the fear grows, is that separation. If you have a direct relationship with God and Creator and Source Energy, then the magnitude of fear is going to be null or very little. Because people who have a direct relationship with God, they surrender to their relationship knowing that along with conscious choice, it is what it is. They are in alignment. But the people who have not had the wherewithal to develop that direct relationship, they struggle, and they struggle directly with fear. And then they have anxiety and or depression, and then they have physical issues, and then they wonder, well, how am I going to get fixed? Let me go to the medical facility, and they get prescriptions, and they don't get better because they haven't addressed fear. Fear is going to make everything worse. But if you don't question your thoughts about fear, if you don't address your fears don't go away. They just get bigger and they grow. It's like a parasite. And it is a parasitic energy, for sure. That's a really good question, Zoya. I'm not sure that was the answer you expected. Johnny is saying, I feel a demon sitting on my chest, and I told the demon to sit on. Oh, nice, Johnny. Well, you clearly have a negative entity attachment. If you're talking to anything that's negative, you've got an attachment. And if you're going to be rude in the chat, you've got an attachment. Hi, do you mind giving me some advice? It depends. Hey, XYZ, good for you. Good to see you here. Oh, I just noticed that's a little lion that you have in your thing. It's sometimes hard to see on this. Lei Chu is saying, how do you help individual who has pressure, especially with family members? What is a good way to help them? Well, Lei Chu, I think this is a really good question, and so thank you for bringing that up, because we are upon the holiday season and lots of people have family pressures. But usually those pressures are because we are not being honest. We're not being honest with ourselves. We're not being honest with them. So the first thing I would say is find a place to be still with yourself, sticking with the theme of stillness. Find a place to be still with yourself and get honest with yourself about what it is that you're believing about this person, this relationship that doesn't serve you, that is creating a pressure within you. Because your thoughts, you have 100% control over. You have 100% influence over your thoughts. Your beliefs about what people are doing, if they do not serve to release the pressure, then you have a problem and a choice, right? You can continue thinking what you're thinking about that person or the situation, or you could choose another thought, which is to accept. Consciously accept the family members are who they are. People are going to be who they are, whether we like how they are or not. We can love somebody and not appreciate how they present. And that's the truth. So the other thing I will say about this one is that it's so important for people to understand with family members that everybody is on their own soul journey, which means that they have lessons to learn of which you have no conscious awareness of. And the reason why you don't have any conscious awareness of is because it's not your business. So you're not supposed to help them. You're supposed to be consciously present with love, kindness, and acceptance for all. If you can do that, the pressure will be lifted. It's the lack of love. It's the lack of compassion. Now, you can also have love and compassion and have a boundary and say that I'm not getting involved with that. That's not what I would do if they ask for your opinion. But oftentimes, people don't really care what other people think. They just want to keep doing what they're doing. So your job becomes, how do you accept people on their different soul journeys, knowing that they have lessons to learn that are different than yours? And your lesson is to learn your lessons. How do I release the pressure by getting more clear? Create a place of stillness and make conscious choices. And those conscious choices should be in the movement with love, compassion, and acceptance of yourself and them. And then you don't have to help them because your presence will be the support that helps them. It provides clarity. When we are in non-judgment, it allows us to be present with others in a way that helps them feel supported without you doing anything. I hope that's helpful. There is no savior out there. We are our own. We are the ones who bring in Christ consciousness. There's no saviors. Okay, Caged Lion is saying he's under, or they are under pressure with my relationship. Okay, well, I just gave Elsie some real good advice. Oh, hello there, Shane. So good to see you. I love how you put those flowers in there. It always makes me smile. What a beautiful expression. Thank you. I hope you are having a blessed day as well. I appreciate you being here, Shane. Is there a link between pressure and decision making? That's an interesting question, Zoya. Is there a link between pressure and decision making? I would say, in my personal experience in witnessing others, that when they feel pressure, they often do not make conscious choices. And they often go into this a space of doubt and stagnation. So I would say, in my experience, most people decide to move forward, and they just stay there in the pressure. And I think that's the point of this whole stream, is that pressure must be acknowledged. We need to understand that there's a wear down strategy going on in our environment. So have conscious awareness, cultivate a space within ourselves so we can make conscious choices that are aligned with the natural laws, that lift us up out of the pressure. And if we are creating conscious choices and we're creating movement, the pressure is going to change. It will not stay the same. But our lack of movement is what makes the pressure worse. And when people feel more pressure, they go into more fear, and the fear creates pain, and the pain creates stagnation, and that creates a feeding frenzy for this parasitic energy. Raj, I can't understand your question. XYZ is saying, how to tackle a negative person. Well, your awareness. You don't have to do anything. If somebody's negative and you don't like being around a negative person, then you have a conscious choice to choose to not be around them. So you don't have to acknowledge, do anything, except for notice what is happening within you. Now, if it were somebody that I had contact with, I would ask, can I give you some feedback? Or are you open to hearing? And if somebody's calling me on the phone, that's an open invitation for me to give feedback, because they are now in a consulting relationship with me. And if you're my client and you're negative, we're going to address why. So you don't have to be negative anymore. But people who are negative often don't realize that they're negative, because people don't have a high level of self-awareness. And even people who are constantly thinking don't have the awareness that you have. So you sharing with them that I perceive that you see the negative in everything might actually wake them up to a different way of being. So I would really see if that's worthy of developing your relationship in that way. I never advocate violence, because any violence against another is just violence against the self. Planet I is saying, prisoner by their own thoughts. A lot of people don't have mental discipline. That's the truth. Mick is saying, you talk about the veils thinning, which I call spiritual. You can say energy. You are an incredible person, I have to say. Thank you, Mick. That's very nice. I think people have different conceptions about the term spiritual. I will say, again, I say it every time I feel like it, but I really feel like our language has been hijacked, and people have misunderstandings of what spirituality is. They think spirituality is religion. It's not. It's definitely not. And religion is not spiritual. Spirituality is who you are, if you know who you are. But most people don't even know who they are, Mick. So we must know who we are. We must connect to our hearts. We must operate in the alignment with the natural laws, which is primarily, being kind, being loving, cultivating compassion, and those are just basics, right? Basics of humanity, which humanity has lost the basics. People are focused on, I'm going to be nice to my family. That is not how it works. You have to be nice, or I don't even want to say nice. You have to be kind, compassionate from your heart. It's not things that you do, it's how you are. And let's be honest, I think being direct is kind. But there are people on the receiving end of my kindness that are like, that didn't feel so good. And that's when they say the truth hurts. The truth does not hurt. The lies hurt. Okay. Pisces, hello. Good to see you. It's your time of year for sure. Mentally and emotionally fracturing as we speak. Oh, Pisces, it's a rough time out there, which is why I wanted to do this topic. Zoya is requesting a live session on fear. Okay, and how to get out of fear. Fear requires challenging your thoughts. Really? But okay, Zoya, noted. I've written it down. I thought I might have done that, but I'll do another one. What do I think about the war of Ukraine and Russia? Well, I am not into politics. I think we're all in this together. And I think the governments have created an environment that pits people against each other. And that is called divide and conquer. It's a tactic. And it is up to us as people to understand that we're all in this together. And I pray for peace for all of us. Yeah. Thank you. XYZ says, Kiana, you are right. We need to address our fear first. Most people their ego is so involved, and I think this is really important. And I don't like to talk about the ego work on this channel. I do it in private sessions, and the main reason is because the ego will defend to the death status quo. So a lot of people Zoya or XYZ will not even acknowledge that they're in fear. And, there are some people that think they're in fear when they're really in terror, which is worse than fear. And, you wouldn't know it. They're really pretty. They dress nice. They put on this cool, calm, cool persona. But underneath, I could feel the nervous system activated. So I know they're in terror. But a lot of people don't know because they're not connected within. Mick is saying, I know you also are spiritual, but the way you tackle and talk about energy, I'm still grasping. Well, Mick, I try to keep it in general, like for the average person to learn more about their field. So that's maybe that's what you're experiencing. I don't know. Do you have a recommendation, Mick? I wonder if you have a recommendation on a topic that would help with that. I'm open. It'll be 366 days. Oh my goodness. And we're in the last month of it for this series. Zoya is saying, how do cultural expectations around success contributes to life's pressures? Okay, Zoya, that is an excellent question because there are cultural differences, but here's one common distinction about success that most people need but don't have. And that is, Zoya, how have you defined success for yourself? And the second follow-up question to that is, Have you written it down? And the third follow-up question to that is, if you haven't written it down, why not? So oftentimes people are on the move for this thing called success, which eludes them because they haven't defined what success truly is for them. Now, I know people who are multimillionaires who thought that being a multimillionaire was going to make them happy, and the truth is it doesn't. So they get all this money and they're sad, they're broken, they're emotionally fractured, and they have to do a lot of healing. Is that bad? No, but it's because they ignored the things that they needed to focus on that create success. And that's what I would suggest, is that inner connection. Because you can have all these things, these degrees, and I will tell you, I have a master's degree in organizational leadership and conflict management. I have all kinds of certificates, and they mean nothing. You know, they mean nothing. And if I were if I were in the same place as I am now, with all the wisdom, that I would say it wasn't a waste of time, because I learned a lot, but I have spent much more time unlearning than I did learning. So I would really, and I know you're in school, Zoya, but I would define what success is for you. And then I would say, okay, if this is success, then what are my values? And you must have them written down. If you all are new here, Sophia, hello, good to see you back. If you have not written down your values, please do so. Please do so. Get very crystal clear on what your values are. It will help you. It will help you move through the pressure. It will help you align to what is most direct connection to your joy and well-being. Reality Bites is asking me, what are the genders? Interesting question. And that question is a tactic of the divide and conquer. Right? It's a tactic. So you must understand how you are embodying the tactics with your questions. Irie Tish. I have an assignment where I have to introduce myself and I can't think of anything. Talk about your values. How do I stop being codependent? That's a hard one. That's a hard one, because if you're codependent, that means that you have not developed, number one, inner strength. Number two, emotional stability. Number three, you have mental instabilities, potentially. So the best thing to do to stop being codependent is to do your own inner work. Become self-aware, become emotionally stable, and that's a process. Then become focused and clear on your goals. The goal isn't to stop being codependent. The goal is to be sovereign, free, in my opinion. This sounds like a good time to tell you all, I'm not a therapist. This is not traditional therapy. I don't do therapy. I do energy psychology, the alignment of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Pisces says, I get extreme anxiety when I feel the strong need to act. Maybe that's excitement. Interesting. Well, I think that there's a distinction. So let me read what you said completely. Pisces is saying, I get extreme anxiety when I feel the strong need to act, to call or to text someone about an issue immediately, or go to and do. need to be still. So sometimes anxiety can be misunderstood as excitement, but we've been conditioned to call things something that it's not. So I would look to see what are the distinctions between excitement and anxiety and get familiar with those distinctions. Because it's subtle, but it's important, because if you're thinking anxiety, this is anxiety, you're missing excitement. Which one feels better? Excitement. How does it feel better? Your perception. So that's how powerful you are. You own your perceptions. But I think that's a good awareness. I am more of the type of person that I find it's more important to create what I call a container. So if I have something exciting I'm working on, I work to build that momentum up, and I don't share it with people that I can't trust. So I keep it pretty close. Like I've been changing my services by the end of this year, but I just started announcing it this week. But I've known for months and months that I was changing my services. How to know my desire is the direct desire of God or not? That's an interesting one. Because there are imposter energies out there. I would say you would feel the distinction within your heart. Don't trust your eyes, trust your heart. Because your eyes, your vision, what you see can be fooled. So always trust your heart. It will never lie. Sierra is saying, okay, wait, I always see your channel. Do you believe in God or the Bible or what? I do believe in God. I believe in God consciousness, unity consciousness, source energy, creator, whatever you want to call it. I believe in God. Yes. I do not read the Bible. I am not a fan of the versions of the Bible that I have read. I do read prayers that I like, but I always sense the energy frequency of what I'm reading before I resonate to see if it's for me or not. I believe in the natural laws. Those are the natural laws that govern the entire energetic field, which is how things actually are operating in patterns. And I help people realign their patterns in alignment with God, consciousness, their soul, and their purpose here on this planet. If you have an accountability class, my family would keep your lights on. Andrew, I don't. I used to do mastermind groups but I don't do an accountability class. But I do work with families. So why did you book a session for the family? Zoya says, how do life transitions like graduation, marriage, or parenthood create pressure? And how can we navigate these changes? Zoya, you're so filled with beautiful questions. Well, I think graduation, marriage, parenthood, these are like big events, right? So there's a lot of social pressures around each of these. And that energy, that creates a charge. So how to navigate them, I would say through neutrality, through stillness, through non-attachment. So start to cultivate those skills now, and you will be golden. Sierra's saying, sorry, what religion isn't spiritual? Almost all of them. In my opinion. This is my opinion, you asked Sierra. I don't think any of the religions are dealing with spirit in the way that is a direct relationship with God. They are, you're in a church, you're practicing your religion. I think religion is a dogma, and it's an institutional way to control people. My perception, I don't think every church is like that. I think the majority of them are misdirected energies. And they create a space between you and God when it should be a direct relationship between you and God. But that's just my opinion. You can believe what you want. Hi, Steve. Good to see you here. How to tackle radical Islamists. Do you have one in your field? I don't know really that there is a tackling as much as a surrendering to your inner creation. And so if you're having that experience in your real-time life, which we all are having in our energy field, it's always still going to be about aligning to your heart. Just looking, Mick, I don't have, what's Mick saying? I don't know of, I feel energies from people, but when you spoke a little bit about energies you've seen around people, which I experience as well, but I don't have your level. I believe I'm just trying to learn. Okay. Okay. I don't know how to share differently, Mick. That I'm just thinking about what you wrote here, Mick, and I'm just wondering if there's a different way that I can share. I really feel like this series, this Being in Sync 366 series, is like a basic fundamental class for understanding like the surface of this field of energy psychology, the integration of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being and alignment. What does time management play into handling pressure effectively? Well, Zoya, the pressure is coming from your thinking mind, and oftentimes when you are thinking, you don't have clarity. So time management is a way in which you can get more clear on paper. I think doing things on the computer and these apps, I think they actually create more pressure. And there is something very old school about pen to paper that works very well. I don't know if that helps any. Zach is saying anxiety is a worn out word. I agree. I think it's been overused, and I think people have made it part of their identity, Zach. And I think that's why it's not what it is all the time, but people really just continue to gravitate for that word. I don't know. I think it's a conditioning. Tao is saying that he's been silenced, but I'm not silencing anybody. You're doing that to yourself. Everything artsy back in the house. Can I get a whoop whoop and an amen? Love it. So cute. People who don't have their own houses in order should be very careful about going out and trying to change the world. You know, we all just are here, you know, if one person takes something out of this video to help themselves become more aligned, I'm here for it. If it doesn't resonate, don't use it. You know, this is about aligning to conscious actions, and not everything I say is going to resonate. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. Zella Dover. Well, if you're seeing energies that you think are a spirit, let's just say your brother, chances are you have gone into agreement with that energy. So I would command that room, that space to be in alignment with your heart, and do not go in agreement. Do not talk to that energy and command it away. So you command that space to be in alignment with God's sovereign freedom, and you command that energy to leave that space. You did not invite it in. It is not authorized to be there. You are unauthorizing it. Cancel any agreements or contracts or vows that you may have made that are conscious or unconscious to that energy, and see how that works for you. Hi, Matthew. Good to see you here. Cancel all, Zeld, cancel all siphoning. Call back your energy. Zoya is saying, I think religion is just a formality to connect us with God, but is not true. When we find God through our hearts is the definition of divine power. Love it, Zoya. I think, well, look, I don't want to offend anybody. I think everybody needs to create a direct relationship with God. If people think that religion is the best thing for them, who am I to argue? I just know it's not for me. I don't want a man-made religion dictating my relationship with God. It's not going to create it. It's not going to formulate it. I do that through my own personal connection. And my lack of connection has led me astray in the past and created lots of discord. So I focus on just being in alignment with my heart to the best of my ability and staying in alignment with God. Bad Sheep says he likes to smoke pot to get clarity, and I think that is a dangerous thing. Yes, Zoe, I do have music playing in the background. I didn't think you could hear it. Hi, Greg. Good to see you. Greg is saying, hi, everyone. Anxiety is a head-heavy feeling. The moment I started to connect with my heart, it started vanishing. And so then, Greg, it's about being in connection with your heart all the time. All right, y'all. So I'm just over an hour on this topic of pressure, and I appreciate your time, your patience, your consideration. My name is Kiana Sage. I guide people to peace through this process called energy psychology. That's the alignment of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. We are always running these patterns of energy that are dictated by the natural laws of God consciousness, and unity consciousness. And so as we understand them, we can align better. This is not something that is dictated to us through a religion, but through the heart. So my name is Kiana Sage. I will be back for another video tomorrow to talk about another aspect of alignment in this Being in Sync 366 video series. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Bye. Good to see you, Elsie. What a surprise.